Welcome to Soul 311, Study Session 10, Leadership in Community Organization. Introduction. In this study session, we shall discuss the leadership in community organization. Leaders are agents of change in the community. As leaders, the community members hold them in high esteem and look up to them for positive changes in the community. Objectives. At the end of this study session, you should be able to identify and discuss the roles of leaders, examine the training needs of leaders. Leadership in community organization. Leadership is very important in community organization. Leaders are volunteers who participate in the development of their communities. They are agents of change that motivate and mobilize their people to improve their communities. Leaders are members of their communities and they are familiar with the culture, social organization, structure, and the values of their communities. Social workers make the first contact with the local leaders in order to solicit their support and interest in solving community problems. This is crucial because the leaders are closer to the grassroots than social workers. This explains why a social worker needs to identify the nature and the structure of leadership in the community in order to be successful. Leadership entails ability to influence other people's activities to achieve a specific goal. In community organization, leadership involves giving sense of direction to the community through mobilization and encouragement of members. Leadership in a community. There are theories and characteristics of leadership. However, the main concern is to examine traits of leadership and the roles played by leaders in community organizations. Physical appearance can thrust leadership on some people. Features such as age, physical appearance such as height, weight, experience, and others can be responsible for recognition as a leader in the community. Traditional rulers such as kings, hobas, emirs, obis, bales are recognized because of the culture which they represent. They are highly regarded in their communities in Nigeria. Social background in terms of education, social status, mobility, wealth, political office, and others can thrust leadership on some people. In many African communities, especially Nigeria, leadership traits are often measured in terms of social status which someone has in the community. High intelligence and personality traits are also measures of leadership. Thus, people that have personal integrity, superior judgment, and sound knowledge of issues are given recognition in the community. Ability to perform certain tasks or take responsibilities and challenges is a criterion to identify some people as leaders in the community. Someone is recognized in the community if he participates and cooperates willingly to bring about desirable changes in the community. It brings development to the community through his personal relationship and influence. The community recognizes him as a leader when they can trust him, and directly or indirectly, the community gives him the mandate to lead and represent the people. The leader in community organization. The leader has a responsibility to help the people to identify various problems militating against their community. He is to lead them to solve the problems. In this regard, he does not impose his own will on the people. He is to assist or lead them to identify their needs, as it should be a joint effort to develop the community. Hence, the desire for changes should come from the people. He ensures that the people act cooperatively to develop the community. The people must be willing to voluntarily contribute to bring desirable changes into their communities. Through the qualities of good leadership, the people can join forces together to achieve communal goals. It creates faith in the ability of the people to rely on themselves to solve their problems. The community must identify the resources available and also learn the importance of self-help. The available resources should be utilized to solve community problems. Such resources include material and non-material resources, especially manpower. It ensures that the community works together towards set goals in order to develop. It is to mobilize and encourage members of the community to participate wholeheartedly in the development process. Leaders motivate its people to desire changes in their lives. When the people are getting disinterested in a project or program, a good leader encourages them to contribute their effort to community projects. As the link between the government representative and the people, the leader attends meetings in the local government headquarters on behalf of his people. Thereafter, it makes known the needs which the community cannot satisfy without assistance from the government and endeavors to get support of government, non-governmental organizations, and philanthropists to assist the community. In this sense, the community should not be over-dependent on the government for development. The leader should be democratic. It should not impose its will on the people, but should allow the people to decide their destiny. The democratic values, which start at the grassroots, will develop to national level. Democracy creates faith in the ability of the people to manage their own resources. If the people decide the cause of development, this creates a sense of identification with the community. Training needs for community leaders. The community leaders' trainings needs include the following. 1. Mobilization strategies. Mobilization is an essential ingredient in the conception and implementation of any program tailored to solve community problems. It pertains to human and material resources as well as the psychological, physical, and attitudinal features. The mobilization approach for community organization involves the pooling of human and material resources of a people in measures designed for their betterment in their communities. Mobilization is therefore a process whereby people are made to realize a need for new orientation and change. It is a process whereby people are available for new dispensation and are made ready to imbibe the change. In community organizations, mobilization principles fosters people's willing participation in planning, deciding, and executing programs that do affect the lives and welfare of the people in the community. Mobilization principles create faith in the success of the program. It encourages people to have a sense of belonging to all community programs. Mobilization involves training local leaders how to make them leaders of the people, to feel the dissatisfaction with the present situation and realize the need for development. It involves the persuasion technique, ability to study their people, know their weaknesses and strong points, and ability to capitalize on these. Leading and directing concept. Community leaders should think in terms of the issues related to orientation, communication, motivation, and leadership. A community leader should be able to influence and direct the people in order to achieve communal goals. Its leadership style should confer on him authority and power to recognize their felt needs and means of satisfying such needs. It is necessary that community leaders be given training on leadership style to create a right understanding between the people and their leaders. The approach to leadership recognizes that there exists an interaction between the group and the leader. It supports the leadership theory that people tend to follow those in whom they perceive a means of accomplishing their goals. The essence of leadership is followership. It is the willingness of people to follow that makes a person a leader. Moreover, people tend to follow those whom they perceive as providing a means of achieving their own desires, wants, and needs. Leadership involves ability to aspire, that is, to animate or to enliven followers to apply their full capacities into projects. Leading, directing, and organizing in community organization involve helping people to identify the problems militating against their progress as a community. A leader should lead them to be prepared to do something to solve the problem. Moreover, he should lead his people to understand that they should rely on the available resources to bring about change or development. 3. Link with outsiders. The social worker's first link with a community is through the community leader. The community leader serves as a bridge between him and the people. The leader should be trained in making the community conscious of the fact that it is the struggle of the people themselves. The community leader, like social workers, should be able to convince the people that they are responsible for finding solutions to their obstacles. Number 4, identification of needs and barriers to development. Community leaders should also know the process of identification of needs. This is essential if a community is to develop and grow with or without assistance from the government. They should be exposed to informal educational methods and instruments. To fight against hunger, disease, and ignorance is to fight to liberate man from the throes of the physical world and to defend his right to human worthy existence. Training can make community leaders willing to participate in measures which will make the community identify their needs and provide solutions to such needs. 5. Literacy. Literacy is fundamental to development. Adult education could assist adults in the task of application of knowledge and skills to existing resources. Literary education is not just for reading and writing, but it is for societal development as a whole. Mass education is a key factor in raising people's consciousness about participation in community programs. If leaders have basic literacy education, it enhances their ability to read, write, and calculate. 6. Simple account. Knowledge of accounting is essential in modern community organization. This fosters trust in the leadership of the community leader and the social workers. Even where a community has officers such as secretary, financial secretary, and treasurer, the leader is still responsible to the people who willingly contribute money for development. It behooves the leaders to give an adequate and accurate account of how any fund raised was expended. Community organization puts more responsibilities on community leaders who are to source for additional funds for gigantic projects such as rural electrification and hospitals. Accountability fosters faith in the leadership of a community leader. Number 7, human relations. A worthy leader should have the ability to lead and not to drive. In organizing the development of a community, people develop relations with one another, working together for a common aim. This shows that a community leader should understand and have good knowledge of human relations so as to mobilize and encourage his people. There should be good relationship and understanding between the leader and the led in order to develop the community. If the leader and the followers are not in good terms, project can be easily abandoned halfway. Human relations is a process which involves motivating individuals and groups so as to maintain their goodwill in order to achieve specific goals. In this context, the leader has to work with the community to enable the people act as an entity. Number 8, democratic principle. In community development, democracy is a way of life which gives a sense of involvement and participation to all members of the community. Community leaders should be trained to embrace democratic values. This is essential in order to prevent a situation whereby there will be autocratic leaders. Autocracy in community development means the leaders will impose their own will or wish on the community. In other words, the community will be compelled to execute assumed needs instead of actual felt needs. The community leaders need to know and understand the importance of democratic values in a local environment. Number 9, principles of community development. The training program for community leaders should include principles of community development. The principles of felt need, self-growth, self-reliance, citizen participation, and self-help are paramount in project initiation and execution in community development. Community leaders should be able to educate their people on the need to rely on the resources available within their communities. People should learn to take up their responsibilities without much dependence on external agents. Number 10, technical courses. Community leaders may be trained in technical subjects which will further enable them to initiate reforms in their communities and to assist community development agents. Such training is necessary ahead of their community members if knowledge will be imparted to the whole community. Members of a community often consult their leaders whenever they are confused, make mistakes, or could not understand some technical subjects if the technical trainer or community agent is not around. Besides, training in technical subjects facilitates higher productivity. Summary. In this study session, we discussed the role of community leaders in the community organization. The community leaders organizes in the community organization, which galvanizes the community for social action to solve communal problems. This is the end of study session 10. Thanks for listening.